welcome to Fair Honesty again,
Uh-huh.
and pick number 69.
Of course, yeah, we
Uh,
skipped all the way to the important
anyway,
number. Mhm.
so today we're gonna be talking about how to decide a job during or after college. Since most of us don't really know what to do like during college year, because I was in that spot where I was pretty much stuck at a spot. Should I make money while I'm going to school, or should I just focus on school and try to complete it? Um, so we're gonna be discussing about that. So in here I have Thea and Eric. So you guys want to introduce yourself again?
Hello, yes, I am Taya. I'm a video editor, currently in community college. That's what I'm doing at the moment.
I'm Eric. I'm a bum.
Yeah, sounds
Oh.
about right.
Fantastic, Eric. You're homeless
Mm-hmm.
in this because of the quarantine, right?
Sure.
I guess
yeah,
technically we're all
definitely.
bums at this point, by that logic.
I'm getting to that level, Eric. Show me the way. Okay, so anyway, so I was pretty much mainly when I was going through college year, I was kind of like in a spot where I was trying to earn money because financially it cover a big portion, but it didn't cover enough for my living expense and all that. So I end up deciding to get a part-time job and going to college at the same time. And I think that was a part that I feel like I should have just tried to push all my effort into school and finish it as fast as possible and just get out of it. Instead, when I picked the part-time job, I kind of lack out my time in college. So I went from supposed to be 4 year, I came out 6 year, and I'm pretty sure like that will be a lot of you guys, um, because that was just a main thing, a part of life where we have to experience, and deciding on what you want to do at that point in college, it's kind of hard because you don't really know. You don't even have like skill set. You don't even have like what you need to do to maintain a job as well. Because if the boss don't like you, they just fire you, or they would just hire someone else that's more capable.
Yeah, there are plenty of jobs out there where you are replaceable.
Yeah, so that's pretty normal, right? So that's why I'm right now. I'm trying to explain like, should you put all your effort in school or put some effort in like part-time job as well? Um, what I think that you guys should do, in my opinion, I feel like if you want to focus and you want to finish something fast, put your effort into school and just try to um, not be stingy, but try to save as much money as you can with the financial aid. Try to go out last. Don't spend all your money on random stuff, and that will be. It's gonna take a lot from you.
Yeah, don't order Grubhub every night when you're hungry. That's
Yeah.
gonna eat up from your wallet really fast.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, to me, that's what I think. But Taya, you want to talk about kind of your side a little bit?
Yeah, so on my side of it, when I was in school, I was just going to my local community college. I was a little disappointed that I couldn't go to university, but being at community college gave me a little more flexibility. Because if I was at a university, I didn't have a car at the time, so I just would have been stuck there, and I wouldn't know if I would have had the flexibility to have a job with university at the same time. When I had community college, I could balance out how many classes I wanted to do. So I figured I wanted to get a part-time job on the side just because, having some extra money is nice. Sometimes people don't have a choice. Sometimes people aren't fortunate to have families that can financially support them. I have a family that's able to support me at least through community college, but I at least wanted something on the side. And I also wanted something to like help me feel productive at the same time. Because when I was at community college, I wasn't really doing any classes that I found to be very interesting. Because I'm a film major, but my community college didn't really have that much of a film program. So I wanted to do a part-time job on the side. I didn't really see the harm in it. But when you try to do schooling and a part-time job at the same time, you start to realize how important time management can be. especially if you try to be a full-time student along with a part-time job. Because with a part-time job, that's going to be anywhere between 15 to 20 hours a week. And then keeping up your studies on top of that can also be a little bit difficult. So making that decision, if you plan on doing a job and school at the same time, trust yourself to be able to do time management, because if you're not good at that, you're going to slip up on either schooling or your job, and you don't really want to mess up on either of those. One job that really did me well, the first one I did was at just this bagel shop, and I hated it. In fact, it was even becoming a detriment to my schooling because I hated working there, so that started to kill my motivation a lot. And so when I quit that job, there also came another point where I didn't have much motivation for school anymore. So one thing I decided to do, this is like for part-time jobs, this isn't career stuff yet, but I knew I wanted a job that I could at least kind of look forward to in the day to kind of keep my motivation up. That's also another good thing that can happen with having like a part-time job on the side of your schooling. And eventually I was able to get a job at an escape room. Escape room has nothing to do with my major of film, like whatsoever. But it's an entertainment industry, and it's something I already found pretty fascinating at the same time. And it was a fun job, and being able to leave the house with something to look forward to that day, even though I had school on the side, it also helped with my motivation to go to school as well. And also having money on the side allowed me to purchase my own car and everything. So in that regard, it paid off for part-time jobs. And with this question, there's also wondering when should you move on from your part-time job to more of a full-time job. So do you have anything to say on that, Doug?
Yeah, I do. So going back to my experience from the past when I was doing the part-time job, and it kind of delayed my school or my graduation. But that was something that I had to do, and because I was kind of in a tight situation where I needed money, so I could pay off my car, and I also had to pay off a bunch of bills that I have. But I pretty much worked at Baskin Robbins for 4 years. So I learned so many different skills from just Baskin Robbins alone. I learned through like the basic. I learned how to do inventory. I learned how to do customer service, and I learned how to do management. That was just something that I kind of picked up over like the course of the 4 years. And because of that, I ended up doing my own business because of that experience. I feel like it wasn't exactly a waste. If you do part-time stuff, you could actually learn multiple skill sets, but you have to think about it of what you're trying to learn. If you just go in there just to earn money and just don't learn anything, then I feel like that doesn't really help you in the future. How I got into Baskin Robbins was kind of a friend recommendation, and that was part of the connection. And the previous video we talked about connection building, and that was how I got my job too. But there was so many drama inside working as well, and that's pretty normal in a lot of job field that you're gonna be going to. So
drama in the sense of like your coworkers, or with dealing with customers?
Both, because you're gonna have like both experience, right? You're gonna have problems, some with the customer. Sometimes they're like nitpicky about every little thing, and sometimes you're gonna deal with your like coworker. Either they gonna trash talk you, like backstab you. I got that a couple of times, but that's okay. It's just part of my experience, right? Stuff that I never did before in the work, I got blamed on. So, but that was just part of it, right? So I learned about people's personality as well. And that was like, I feel like that was a good experience overall.
Do you feel like a lot of the skills you learned transferred over to the work that you're doing now?
Yeah. Like a lot of like management stuff that I do right now is actually came from Baskin Robbins. if because a lot of people they don't know that at all. Like a lot of people ask me, how do you manage stuff so well? It's because I went through Baskin Robin and I went through my own business. That's how I've been able to learn everything, right? So that was something like I feel that is useful. Um, anyway, but the other side of it is when you're working part-time job, just make sure that you're actually doing that to learn the skill set because it's gonna apply to other jobs that you're gonna be doing, no matter where you go.
Yeah, definitely having a motivation outside of just an income can be really important. Like even at like shitty jobs, there are some things to learn from there. Like when I started to get an interview at my latest full-time job, I was able to reference a lot of what I learned from my previous jobs in my interview that they liked a lot. Like for example, even though I was applying to work at a place where they make movie trailers, my previous experience was working at an escape room. Those are two completely different fields. But for example, at a place like an escape room, teamwork's really important because you have coworkers. That's just a given anywhere. Customer service is also very important because that develops social skills and how you deal with other people. Time management was also very, very important for me to stress because an escape room, we have bookings, so we need to make sure we're on time. So it's just like little skills like that can relate to even bigger fields. So you can even relay that into job interviews when you're going up to places like when you're finally moving on to more full-time jobs. Because like Doug said, all the skills he learned at working at an ice cream shop like Baskin Robbins eventually was able to carry over into the work that he's doing now. So when you're doing a part-time job, definitely look out to learn. My exterior motivation besides money, even though money was important, I also wanted to be in an environment that made me excited to leave the house for the day because I was at a place that I really enjoyed working at. I mean, even though Doug said like you have like your work drama, like even at a place like an escape room, not every day was great. Sometimes you might have bad coworkers. I was fortunate enough to have really nice coworkers, like ones I consider to be like close friends to me at this point. But sometimes you can even have like really shitty managers or really bad customers. If you work in retail, you will find difficult difficult customers. Pretty much everyone I know that's ever worked in any form of retail or food business have developed a hatred for customers in general. But yeah, that's also a social skill to develop too.
Yeah, but it depends on how you handle your customer, right? That's what I learned. I learned how to handle customer. I learned how to handle situation, how to solve problem, right? And I think that's what a part of my job is too. Yeah. On the other side, where Eric, you didn't really work for other people when you were in college, right?
I did.
While in college, I thought that was the end of your senior year, right?
It was like junior or sophomore, something like that.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, I transferred, so it's probably like junior year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was at the end. You didn't start working for someone while you're in college, right? At the beginning of college?
No, in the beginning of the PCC, I was just completely focused on my studies. And
Yeah.
just to clarify, this is about getting a job during or after college, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much deciding on like when to get a job, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In my opinion, you should probably look to get at least a part-time job in college. So because it's a good opportunity to get your feet wet and know where you're getting into before you actually graduate. Gives you a chance to like reevaluate if you really want to do this. And also helps with preparing you for real life, like actually real life outside of college.
Definitely.
Yeah, college is nothing like real life.
Yeah. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
No, you even in colleges, you are kind of sheltered in there.
Yeah, so it's definitely good to just get out there and see what it is, even if it's a part-time job or a internship. Yeah, because I know a lot of people shy away from internships because most of them are unpaid. But if you can find a paid one, that's great. But even if it's unpaid, you should definitely give some serious thought because you're still going to be getting some valuable work experience. And experience is essential after you leave college.
Oh yeah, especially
Yeah,
on your resume. Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they look at your experience, and then that's like half your resume right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I talked about this in the last episode, but like the internship I had with Doug, even though it wasn't really paid. I mean, we got paid on commission. It wasn't like a wage or anything. That wasn't the important part. Like what Doug was saying before, even with part-time job, you should go there to learn stuff. With Doug, I was learning a lot with him, and since my community college didn't really have much of a film program, I was learning a lot more of the side of my major with Doug. And thanks to that, I was able to get a full-time job in the industry I wanted to at the age of 20 before I even graduated from community college. Because having that experience on my resume was helpful in them considering me for the job.
Yeah, work experience is invaluable, especially when you graduate and you start looking for entry-level jobs, and all of them were like 3 years plus experience, and you're like rattling your brain like, what?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Entry level.
Yeah.
Entry level, yeah.
Sometimes it can get kind of ridiculous. I saw one person on Twitter, they were looking at this job application for like for some sort of computer website designer, and they wanted like 8+ years of experience in a certain language, but that the computer language has only existed for like 2 years.
I think I see that one.
Yeah, but they asked for like 8 years of experience, but it's only existed for 2 years. So sometimes they get out of hand.
Yeah, I feel like some of the job application, I feel like it's such a troll, or like it's not realistic, because like if it's asking you like you barely graduated from college, like you have like 1 year or 2 year of experience in your major, but you never did anything outside.
Yeah.
And they're asking like already like 3 year of experience, 4 year of experience. And I feel like that is some BS that they like to put on.
Yeah, two
like,
years of experience in classes doesn't count, so.
Yeah, that's why it has to be like outside work.
Yeah.
So a lot of time I feel like that it will kind of weed out all like the one that it doesn't apply to. So anyone that doesn't have that job experience pretty much is gone.
Yeah.
So, there's also a difference between volunteering and internshipping. There's two different things. Volunteer, you could be learning, you might not be learning. And internship, I feel like it's more of a guidance. Yeah, and that's what I see as the difference. So it's better if you have a chance to get internship, it's better to go that route instead of just volunteering, because they probably don't teach you much.
Volunteer, you don't get compensated like at all.
Yeah.
With internships, you can either get paid, or they'll pay you in like school credits or whatever that fucking means.
Yeah.
That the school credit.
Yeah, they're paying you in school credits. Like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know how that works. I tried going to PCC asking how to get like school credit for internship I had with Doug, and I was basically spent that day running around between different buildings and people giving me empty answers because none of them knew how it works.
Yeah, it's best if, honestly, I don't think it matters too much about the credit.
Yeah.
Because honestly, even volunteering hour doesn't even matter. When you're applying for college, this was something that I find out when I was transferring. They don't exactly care if you volunteer, and they don't care how many hours you volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're only concerned if you're like going straight from college from high school. And then they're looking at your volunteering. But once you're in college, they don't really care. Like you're transferring between schools and stuff.
Funny thing is, I was doing community service for like 4-5 years at this library by my school, and a lot of volunteer hours that I could put on my college apps. But I still didn't get into the colleges I wanted to, so shows how much that amounted to.
Yeah, I have like over like 300 hours of volunteering. That didn't even matter. So
yeah.
So I know volunteer doesn't really do anything.
Nah, not really.
Yeah, and it's really easy work. It's not complicated. Yeah, I feel like it's just internship more. You just learn more stuff.
Basically,
You can't put volunteer work on your work experience.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Okay, but anyway, so deciding on a job, before or in college or after college, I feel like that's dependent on your situation
Yeah.
overall. You could decide if you really need it to get some experience, then you should go into a part-time job. I don't think you should do a full-time job and full-time student.
You're gonna burn yourself out really quickly with that.
Yeah, you're gonna end up quitting one or the other, no matter
Yeah.
what.
It's-
So, go ahead.
Oh yeah, especially if you have a part-time job and you want to like commit that to like full-time and doing it with school, even if you can technically fit that amount of hours in a day, you also have to put into factor time for yourself, time for your friends or your family, and then any other like extracurricular stuff you want to do. It's really difficult to fit anything else besides work and school, and you're not gonna find yourself enjoying it that very much. Unless if you really enjoy going to school or your job, which is pretty rare, so chances are you aren't going to enjoy both that much. So, like at the previous job I was at, it's not that this person was doing school and work. He had 2 full-time jobs at the same time. So he had like 80-hour work weeks, which is even more strenuous than having a full-time student and having a full-time job. And the only thing I could say about him is that even though he was making more money, he came into work always incredibly sleep deprived. So even though he could do 2 things at once, it's difficult.
Yeah, but that was a part of that's what I did. I was a full-time student. I have 3 part-time jobs. I was working at a boba place, and I was working at Baskin Robbins, and I was working on just like a design side as well. But that just killed me. Like,
yeah, I can imagine.
Hard.
Because you can technically do it, but you're gonna realize like how little hours are in the day when you start to do things like that. You're gonna have so little time for yourself and for others that it's a lot of times it degrades on like your mental health as well. So you have to really know what you're getting into, and if you're super good at time management, sometimes you can make it work, but regardless, you're gonna burn yourself out.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty normal. I feel like once you go into the first step of getting a part-time job and going to a full-time student, you're gonna start finding out of how much time in a day, like you know, like maybe 1 or 2 hours of kind of like chill time, and the rest is just work and do homework and more work.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. I would just pretty much go to school, go home, do homework, and go to work, and then work more on my second job. And my third job, I have to end up doing that over the weekend because over my weekday it was too packed already. So what I did is I did that for like 3 or 4 months, and I just burned out like super fast. So I end up deciding on pretty much of what I want to do. So I end up just doing a full-time student and a part-time Baskin Robbins, and that's it. And that's all I wanted to do. And it was easy, and I could handle it. Yeah.
Especially when you allow yourself to have like time for yourself. Because if you're just doing work all the time, you're not gonna find too much enjoyment in your life for the time being. So find that balance is also really, really important. Like there are unfortunate circumstances where people have to do that because of their like not the most financially stable, and they have to do that just to make a living. So if you don't have to do that, like some people wish they didn't have to like have like 3 jobs and school at the same time. Some people have to do that. If you don't have to, try to find something to balance yourself out with, because time management is very, very, very important.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you guys have any other opinion or talk about anything else
on this question?
Yeah.
Yeah. One more other thing that I can mention is that if you can find a job that you find yourself like you actually enjoy going towards, something like that can also be worth a little more of your time as well, especially for something that like you're also like learning from. Like when I got my job at the escape room, it was an environment that I really, really enjoyed, and I never took it anywhere past full time, but I did find myself taking more hours over there than taking more classes at my community college, because that's something that was like a positive thing in my day. It was something that was more valuable. It was something that was valuable to me than more than just the money for it. So if you can find a part-time job that you enjoy doing, I would say that's also worth going towards. Only extra thing though is that those are a little more difficult to get, because if it's like a job like an entertainment field, like maybe a theme park or something like that, or even also at like an escape place or some field that you enjoy being around, it is going to be a little more competitive going into it. But I feel like if you are lucky enough to find at least a part-time job that you enjoy going towards, that's going to be really, really valuable in your day, because that job also may be productive for things like outside of that job, because it may be more motivated to be out of the house in general. So stuff like that can be very nice, because the previous part-time job I had, that I had next to schooling, was like a bagel job. I don't really even like bagels that much. I didn't like the work environment. It was always really busy, and we're always really overworked. So that ended up like degrading my mental health a bit, because I hated going out of the house for it, and it also made it more difficult for me to focus on my studies. So sometimes, especially if it's your first job, you might have to settle down for more accessible jobs like restaurants and stuff like that. But eventually, if you can move on to something that you enjoy going towards, I really do encourage that, because I think stuff like that can be very, very valuable.
Yeah. Another note on the side, apply to jobs that you actually kind of want to do.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the experience that I got. I honestly, because of Baskin Robbins, I just learned so many skill sets from there. My communication skills improved, and how I respond to my client also improved because of that. So once you start doing stuff like in anything in your work field, or like even like internship, you're gonna learn. You will learn something is either good or bad, but you're gonna use it in the future no matter what. Okay, so Eric, you want to add anything else then?
I think there's a third option that a lot of people don't take into consideration, is that you can just get a job period and do the schooling later. Because in a lot of my classes, there were a lot of people that were older than me, and
yeah,
and they weren't like just, oh, I should have went to college first. No, they were going to college because they now had the time and the money to do it,
yeah,
because they like went the job route first. And I think that's another option people don't really think about, because everyone says go to college first. You gotta go to college right after high school, because everyone else is doing it. You gotta do it too. But a lot of people, they take like alternative routes and end up in the same or even better positions than if they were to just enter like a 4-year college right off the bat.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a really, really good point to bring up, because like even now looking back to it, I also recall like a lot of my classmates being like way older than me. Because especially when you're in high school, I think something that the U.S. education system really fails at is that, at least from where I was in high school, they stress going to college out of high school as if it was like life or death. Like it was either all or nothing, go to college. But sometimes there can be alternate routes that you can go to. You can either just not go to college period, go to get a job now, go to college later, maybe take a year off. Don't feel pressured to have to go to school afterwards. It can work for a lot of people, but Eric definitely brings up a good point that you can also just do a job route now and then do it later. Because when you're 18, just out of high school, it's really hard to jump into school immediately, especially if you're at a university, because that's a lot of money up front. And if you don't have, if you're not fortunate enough to have parents that can help you with that, you're okay. Congratulations. Now you're like $50,000 in debt and you're 19 years old. So.
And no job.
Yeah, exactly. So not only are you spending a lot of time not making any money and also losing money because you're in debt, it's not the best combination. Sometimes people can make the best of it, but having that alternate option of doing work first can work out, because if you're doing work full time, you are making more money than you were if you were doing school on the side. I mean, the whole reason you go to school is to get a degree to make more money later, but you can dedicate your time for the time being.
Right. I feel the traditional kind of banks on you getting a job within a reasonable amount of time after you graduate.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get a job by that time, then you're really in trouble.
Yeah, especially when you have those student loans still coming in every month.
And you got bills to pay and then like mouths to feed. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh wow, I'm 23 years old and I'm like $70,000 in debt. That's cool.
I know, and like no job on the horizon. No job.
Yeah, and it's even worse if you go to private universities. Those are like $200,000 for 4 years. So it is also best to like kind of take it slow. Even if you want to like take a year off, like go ahead and take that time if you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people that doesn't really need school at all, and then they become a millionaire, right? There's
Yeah.
those people too.
Mhm.
So yeah, college is not exactly for everyone,
Mhm.
but it lets you learn the foundation
Mhm.
at least, and I feel like that's what college does overall. But like life experience, they don't teach you any of that.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. You are definitely
So-
sheltered there.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, I think that's pretty much for this topic.
Mhm.
If you want to add a little bit of point in advice or something, tip to let everyone know, then you could do it now.
Mhm.
If not, goodbye.
I think the only last thing I could say on that is that I know a lot of people usually want to take part-time jobs just specifically like for the money aspects. Sometimes people want it because they actually do need need the money for it, because one unfortunate like paradox that like universities or just school in general put you in is that, let's say if you're forced to live on your own and you need to do schooling, like you have to be a full-time student, but at the same time you also need to pay for rent. And if you're unfortunate enough to live in California, that's a lot of money per month. Like we're talking like $900 to $1,300 a month just for your share of the rent. And let's say if you're a full-time student, you got 4 classes for every semester, and then you also need a part-time job on top of that. Guess what? A part-time job probably won't cut it enough for rent. So you might also need to do a full-time job on top of that, along with your schooling at the same time. But since schools take a huge chunk of your day, and full-time jobs also take a huge chunk of your day, you rarely have time for yourself anymore. And then as soon as you're done with all of that, now you have more debt on the side and you still don't have a job just yet. And so it's kind of like a cycle that's really difficult to escape with college because it's like such a huge time constraint. So basically I think what it all comes down to is really a big emphasis on time management. If you can master that with college and jobs, I think you'll be fine.
Or you could become homeless.
Yeah, that's true. That's also an option. Yeah, if you just want to give up, then just don't play the rat race. Just live on the streets. You got no rent. People sometimes just give you money, and don't gotta worry about it. Don't gotta worry about a job either. It's fine.
Yeah. No, the job is to ask people for money. That is the job.
Yeah, it pays like 2 cents an hour, I guess.
No, you could make at least $10 an hour.
Oh yeah, especially. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's an alternate route.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, pretty much that's the end of discussion, and we probably ran out of time already.
Mhm.
I think it's pretty much kind of a little bit over 30
Mhm.
minutes. But anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the topic. We're gonna move on to a secondary topic that we're gonna be talking about. So let's cut this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good luck on finding job, and on top of that, good luck with school.